Rock Foodies Radio! On today's episode, we have a special interview with Black Dahlia from the Dwarves.
Punk Rock Foodies Radio with your hosts, Xander, Kevin, Steve, and Brian. And now, here's Kevin.
And welcome to another episode of Punk Rock Foodies Radio here on punkrockradio.net. That was Dag Nasty SFS. My name is Kevin Wells.
I'm Steve Guerrero.
Good afternoon, guys. Good to be back here with you at the Pig.
And I am Xander T, the asshole in charge at Punk Rock Foodies Radio. Or at Punk Rock Foodies. I guess, and the radio. I don't know. Kevin does most of the work. If you call it
somewhere.
Professional procrastinator. Punk Rock Foodies is a Facebook group. It's an open group. We like to post pictures of awesome food that we've made or have eaten. And we're all into punk rock music, as I'm sure you are, or else you would not be listening to this radio show. We've got a great show planned, as you heard in the intro. But before that, let's listen to some music. Here's Vandals with Flowers Are Pretty.
Children are lovely before they get ugly and learn to do bad stuff. Flowers are pretty before they get shitty and rotten turn to dust. I heard that life is a wheel and you can't make it stop. If you try, it'll flatten your head. It's a circle of shit, we're in the middle of it. But soon we'll all be dead like everybody else that's ever lived before. The things you make fall to the floor. Nobody knows how hard you tried. It's been that way since the start of time. There was a caveman did some amazing things, but nobody here gives a fuck. And in 1,000 years they'll feel the same towards all the things you've done. So don't worry what might give you cancer. Stay up night just wanting answers. Just a crapshoot, but it's mostly crap. Oh, things start off, they're so terrific. They'll fuck up, it's scientific. Entropy, uncertainty won't yield to you or you. then something will spoil it with the good times left behind. Don't try to figure out who's at fault. Powerful forces abound, like a twig on a river in the universe. Tomorrow you'll probably drown. So don't worry if it is a tumor. All this will be over sooner. Just a crapshoot, but it's mostly crap. Things start off, they're so terrific. They'll fuck up, it's scientific. Entropy, uncertainty won't yield to you or you. And all the things that matter most disappear. Here's a toast to erosion and corrosion, Alzheimer's and pain. Don't try to figure out who's at fault. There's powerful forces at play. And if you lose your legs and have to beg, it's really all the same. So don't worry what might give you cancer. Stay up night just wanting answers. Just a crapshoot, but it's mostly crap. Things start off, they're so terrific. They'll fuck up, it's scientific. Entropy, uncertainty won't yield to you. Don't worry if it is a tumor. All this will be over sooner. Just a crapshoot, but it's mostly crap. Things start off, they're so terrific. They'll fuck up, it's scientific. Entropy, uncertainty won't yield to you or you.
This is Blag the Ripper representing the Dwarves, and you're tuned to the sounds of Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
Stick out my fucking fuse, and you're a fucking hot flame, and now I'm daring you. Step up into my path, yeah. I'm blowing in my face, I'm blowing in my ear. Thanks for the status update, you made it crystal clear. I'm a fucking fuse, and you're a big dog flame, and now I'm daring you. Yeah! I'm blowing in my face, I'm blowing in my ear. Thanks for the status update, you made it crystal clear.
Hey, I'm Brody Dale from The Distillers, and you're listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio on punkrockradio.net. And that was Propagandhi with one of my very favorite songs, Status Update. Let's get back to it here. Xander?
All right, yeah, thanks, Brian. All right, yeah, welcome to the Vicious Pig Saloon, downtown Mattersville. You're listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio on Punk Rock Radio. I was trolling around our Punk Rock Foodies page this week, last couple weeks actually, and I saw, most of us have birthdays around this time. Brian, you're the weirdo.
Shut up.
Kevin had a birthday. Steve had a big birthday blowout. My birthday's coming up. And a lot of the food I saw at Steve's looked really interesting. Steve, why don't you tell us about your little birthday barbecue situation you had?
Cool, man. Well, yeah, we were planning on taking a bus, to do a brewery tour and kind of do that whole thing. But a couple of weeks before, I was like, nah, you know what? I just want people to come over here. Let me cook for them. Let me pair it with some beers that I really like, and I'd rather just eat like a king here and kind of do it up for my buddies and my homies and stuff. So yeah, basically, I don't even know how many courses were served, but some of the highlights were definitely the Coca-Cola brown sugar ribs. I think that was paired with Accentuator IPA from Bottle Logic. And then we had some Asian ribs that were right after that. I think that was paired with Modern Times, another IPA, whole Booming Rollers. We got Al Pastor wings, which weren't as good as the Super Bowl party, but they were still good. But they led Kevin Wells to make an amazing discovery. Kevin, you want to talk about what happened there?
Steve brought me a plate of a bunch of wings and a bunch of cut up pieces of hanger steak. And I believe the hanger steak was just seasoned with was that the Santa Maria seasoning, and the juices from the Al Pastor ran down the plate, and I took the hanger steak and soaked it both sides of it in the Al Pastor juice, and it was the fucking best thing of the night. So good.
That's I gotta make that. I gotta marinate some hanger steak in that like overnight or something, and just grill it up and see how that turns out, because that was fucking two phenomenal flavors coming together, and just wow, that was good.
I would just make do the same thing, like make a certain amount of wings, but maybe put like a lot more of the marinade in there, but like kind of cook it up so you can use the marinade still, and then just or just take the marinade and cook it down.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to play with.
And just make like a dipping sauce.
Yeah.
Oh,
Al Pastor dipping sauce.
That'd be unreal.
man, you can stick your meat in there. Oh,
Yeah, but we also had some dessert rounds. We had what was it? The Napoleon cakes with the Russian Imperial Stout from Clown Shoes. I think it was Una Blakehorn Dragon or whatever the fuck it's called. And then at the very end of the night, that Ephemere with apples and coriander. We paired that with sliced green apples and this caramel dipping sauce. And dude, that was like the perfect little like end of the night kind of dessert, man. That was so unreal.
Yeah, that was perfect. I believe we accompanied some smoke before there, and that was perfect. It was the most perfect beer pairing I've probably had for any food.
The one thing I wanted to ask you about, Steve, that I saw was the shrimp cocktails. It wasn't your typical shrimp cocktail. It was well, explain it for those who didn't see it.
Okay, yeah, I got a English cucumber. I cut those in about 1/4 inch slices, and then I put a little dab of cocktail sauce on there, the cooked shrimp, and then I made this horseradish Mexican crema and lime. Yeah, it was lemon. Lemon mixture, and I put a dab of that on top, and then the Mexican seasoning that you would kind of like put normally like on fruit. It's kind of like a sweet or a spicy, salty, kind of lemony flavor. And man, it was just like this little perfect burst of flavor in your mouth. Each one was just like this rad little like handheld kind of thing. So it was totally like, I saw it somewhere online. I was like, oh man, I want to rip that idea off. And I kind of used my own recipe, but yeah, it came out really good. And it was a different take on something that you kind of everybody's kind of had.
Yeah, no, it looked amazing, and the fact you saw it online, it's basically why the fuck we're here, Punk Rock Foodies Facebook group. You get to see what other people make, and you can rip it off. You heard Jason Anderson talk about ripping our shit off a couple weeks ago, and but for those who don't know, what is Mexican crema?
It's like a sour cream, but it's not so sour. It's more. It's not like a heavy cream either. It's kind of in between, so it's definitely a little more liquidy and not like sour cream, how it just kind of just stays there like in the bucket if you were like flip it over. It would pour out, and it's a mellow cream, but it really, you can combine it to make these really radical flavors. I've chopped up cilantro and green onions in there. I made a dip out of that once, and sometimes I eat my mom's chili. When it's a really spicy batch, I can put a little crema in there and mix it with the eggs, and it's like a kind of a staple just to have around the house, because it always works out good with something. Like leftover chimichurri sauce, boom, make a chimichurri crema and throw it on shrimp or something the next day. So it just it comes in handy.
Yeah, it's not sweet or anything. It's just like a pretty.
No, it's not really that sweet, it's not that sour. It's just it's pretty mellow, on its own. Kind of like how Greek yogurt is not like you can kind of tweak the flavor profile of that with whatever you add, and it doesn't have its own like overpowering flavor. It's kind of like in the same vein as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then with the hanger steaks, I also had one of my favorite beers, the Coco Mole, which is from New Belgium. It's a chocolate spiced porter, and if you've ever had like Mexican hot chocolate, it tasted like that, and it's pretty retarded that a beer could take you back to like flavors of your childhood. But like some of these beers are doing that now. It's crazy, man. It's kind of cool.
You know, it's funny you say that because I saw that picture and I had just left my local beer store and I saw the bottle, that exact same bottle of beer, and I pointed it out and I was like, ooh, I wonder, that looks interesting. And then I went and bought something else. But then I saw your picture. I was like, holy shit. I literally, not the exact same bottle, but the same fucking brand.
Yeah.
But that was good. I'll have to try it, I guess, huh?
Yeah, look out for it, because it's like a limited, like, only a seasonal beer, so they only put out so many bottles. I actually bought like 3, and I had one on Saturday and got 2 left over for, when I feel the need to pair something awesome with it.
So for Steve's, I brought potato salad that we used to serve in the food cart, and it's a pretty basic potato salad with just red potatoes, some mayonnaise, sour cream, salt and pepper, lemon, and vinegar. And but then I cooked bacon first, and then I fried up the potatoes in the bacon grease, and then got them fairly soft. And then mixed it up the next morning and topped the whole thing off with all of the crushed up bacon, and then also green onions. And it was pretty good, the day of. But then the next day, Steve took all the leftovers and he took the potato salad and actually fried up the potato salad. And he put he had the salsas from the night before, some scrambled eggs, some crema, and also some of the leftover hanger steak. And I would say the breakfast with the leftovers the next day was almost better than the night before, had they had some of the Asian spiced wings, or the spiced Asian spiced ribs, I should say.
Yeah, that came out pretty rad. It was fun to do that. I fried it in the hanger steak juice because we had leftover loin of hanger steak. So
the hangover,
the hangover hanger steak.
It worked. It was a good pick me up.
Yeah.
And then I died later.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. So what about you, Xander? What are some of your favorite birthday?
Well, my favorite birthday was 18. I like 21 a lot. Birthday traditions. I like, I celebrate my birthday. Some people get pissed off that they're getting old, but I don't give a shit, man. It's a party, man. I make a whole weekend out of it. In fact, it annoys a lot of people, including after I separated from my ex-wife on my birthday. She texted me and said, thank God I don't have to be involved in one of your birthday weekend extravaganzas. So, like, that's fine. I don't care. You were no fun in them anyway. So, but no, see, I'm lucky because my birthday's March 18th. So I get the 17th for St. Patrick's Day, then 18th my birthday, and then usually the basketball tournament starts. So, and that's the only time I ever watch basketball at all. And it's usually just because of the gambling aspect. So I make a whole fucking weekend out of it. It's semi-annual birthday weekend extravaganza. So the only bitch of it this year is on a Wednesday, which is okay because that means I am going to be totally shit-faced when we record that episode of Punk Rock Foodies Radio. So look forward to that episode. That's going to be a good one.
So semi-annual, does that mean you do it twice a year?
I do it semi-annually. I guess not biannually, semi-annually. Well, I like to. I usually take another one.
I think you do it annually.
I do it semi-annually because I don't always do it annually. I do like doing it annually. You got to find the right partner who's willing to experiment with new things if you want to try it annually.
The rooster liked it when you were doing it annually, correct?
That's I didn't hear any complaints. No, but typically, like one of the things I like to do, like food wise for my birthday, is like my biggest thing. I love going to a restaurant that serves pizza and beer and getting a pitcher of beer and a big pizza and just chilling, eating pizza and drinking beer. You can't go wrong with pizza and beer. I think it's the best combination.
We listen to Punk Rock Foodies Radio on punkrockradio.net. This is Pennywise, Something Wrong With Me.
wanted you to believe the things I do. Fact is something's wrong inside of me. At times I find it hard to see what I really wanna be. That's what something's that's inside of me. I was once just like you, but without a fucking clue, and now I live my life to be free. Lakers life, Jesus Christ, travel in paradise. Mom and dad, they're not too proud of me. They're not too proud of me. They're not too proud of me. I'm never gonna be. It's plain to see. You are not like me. Look at what you've done to me. A product of society. Confusion on your face is plain to see. I can't stand your attitude. Think I'm lost, think I'm rude. Your opinion's invalid to me. You don't like my tattoos. How does this dishonor you? Don't you know what's inside of me? Sick and tired of all the lies. When will you realize I'm proud just being me? They're not too proud of me. They're not too proud of me. I'm never gonna be. It's plain to see. You are not like me. Yeah, yeah. I can't believe. Open see has got a hold on me. Yeah, yeah.
All right, what's up, everybody? We're at the Pig Vicious Saloon, tossing a couple back. That was the Darlings with a little ditty called Teenage Thing. And what's up, Kevin? Let's talk about the Mexican fiesta tradition that you do for your birthday.
So every year since I've been a baby, we've been going to a Mexican restaurant called Joselitos in Montrose. And it's, your normal Los Angeles Mexican food. It kicks ass, and it's good. So, as I've been 21, I've partook in the tradition of margaritas on my birthday, and this was like none other, this was like all of the others. But I don't know. So I got the first margarita came, and it was just your normal single margarita, fine. Next one I ordered a double, and the tequila was obviously more than double the tequila, and I was gonna head out that night, ended up not, and ended up drinking more when I got home. And this is the first year that the Joselitos tradition has brought in with it 6 a.m. puking.
Yes.
And
Nice.
I will say this:
happy birthday to me.
the puke tasted very, very, very much like Mexican food, but with puke. So it had this weird after, like it tasted like puke on the way out, but then afterwards, it wasn't as bad as regular puke because it had a little bit of Mexican spice in there.
It had like a cumin, like a cumin aftertaste or something like that.
No, more like a chili powder aftertaste.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Pico de gallo. Puco de gallo.
Pico de gallo.
Uh-oh, I hear a new hashtag.
For me, birthdays mean Mexican food, and then Tuesdays through Mondays also kind of mean Mexican food as well. But birthdays especially, it's Mexican food,
Well, absolutely. You live near La Canada.
But I understand that there's tons of Mexican food places here, but there probably aren't as many in Chicago or Indiana-ish area, Terre Haute.
The Midwest.
The Middle East.
And I hate you.
Brian, what's your go-to birthday fest?
Okay, for birthday food traditions, there's two traditions that I have. There's the I'm single on my birthday tradition, and there's the I'm not single on my birthday tradition. The one that's been used way more is the I'm single on my birthday, and what that is I go to Portillo's, which is kind of a food joint around Chicago. There's lots of locations, and I go get a full slab of ribs and a side of baked beans, and I eat it all myself while I'm watching a movie, and then I just spend the next 24 hours farting, and that's actually the best. So I've done that way more. The other one would be if I'm not single, and what I do is I talk the girl into taking me out for a nice steak dinner at one of the many fine Chicago locations. Like I had an ex take me to Morton's one time, which is crazy expensive, and she didn't have any money. I don't know how she did it. She must have liked me. Another time I had one take me to Ruth's Chris, which is a really nice one. And then one year when I was younger, young and immature, I was not necessarily dating, but I was dating two women at once. I thought I was a playa, and they each took me to Wildfire within 24 hours. So that was nice. So it's either someone takes me somewhere, or way more often than not, I just buy myself some ribs and fart blood for about 24 hours.
All right, yeah, that sounds like a good time. Anytime you get to drink and eat, and celebrate is awesome, right? So, yeah. All right, well, you are listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio on punkrockradio.net, broadcasting from the Vicious Pig Saloon in downtown Mattersville. We are going to take a little break here, but coming up after some music, we have Black Dahlia from the Dwarves on with us, and here is Angry Days by Lagwagon.
Angry youth, mystery leads. You're older now inside your head. Lives an old scene, Mr. Punk, sad and hating everyone. when you grow out of senseless hate. Senseless hate.
Check.
Welcome back to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. We've got a special guest, Mr. Blag Dahlia from the Dwarves, joining us. How you doing, Blag?
Feeling good.
I don't know if you read or heard, but recently Huffington Post came out with an article on vagina yogurt, where a woman was actually making yogurt out of her own vagina enzymes.
I think I met her.
Would you be open to eating vagina yogurt should you come across it?
I think I've had to by mistake. I think it's already, that ship has sailed.
Are you the kind of guy who's into weird foods?
No, I'm more like a California guy now. I like foofy-ass good food, you know what I mean? So, it's kind of, not particularly into weird food, but I like, sort of bullshit, nouvelle cuisine kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm snottier about food than I should be, being the guy from the Dwarves.
What's the best thing you've eaten while touring?
Well, every club will tell you they have good food, and it always sucks in all cases, except this one place, the Church in Boston, where they actually made me a good meal, which was great. I like going to the big cities because that's where you can get some decent food, But I also, sometimes it feels good when you're down south. You get some ribs in Dallas, or you get, it's just any place where it's real and it's not some like homogenized bullshit. Like clubs always have terrible food. You're on the road all the time, so there's like Burger King and shit. Is the only thing to eat, and so I like to be in the cities and get some goofy ass food.
Do you ever cook for yourself when you're touring?
Oh, no. I don't know where you cook on tour. I've had to do it a few times, you get an extra day in some squat house in Europe and you had to make some food, but it's been a long time.
No hot plates on the tour bus?
No. There's very little of nutritional value on the road, and there's no place to make a meal. But, I just make do with the best restaurant around.
Okay. We did an interview last week on the show with a girl named Sabby Nicole who runs an organization called Feed the Scene Denver, where they feed bands that are touring through Denver. Have you ever had fans who have made you meals while you're on the road?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had people be very generous and kind with all kinds of things, you know, giving you a place to stay back in the day when we needed that, and, you know, yeah, making you food, you know. And you get more of that down south or in Texas, you know, people are a little more hospitable. The more you get to the urban center, the less anybody really gives you much of anything. You know, but yeah, people have always been kind to us, you know, shared their drugs and their food and their lives, you know.
Right. Now, when you're home, do you cook for yourself?
Yeah, I cook a lot.
What's your best dish, or what's your favorite thing that you like to make?
Well, you know, I like to go out, and when you go out, you're getting a lot of salt, fat, and sugar and stuff, you know, so I cook pretty simple for myself at home, you know. I try and make a little stir-fry, you know, something like that, something that's pretty, I eat pretty bland at home, you know, because I figure I'm out on the road so much, and there's so much crap out there, you know, that when I'm home, I just try and go pretty simple, you know, a little stir fry, a little bit of pasta, a little bit of this and that, you know. You know, a lot of salads and, you know, stuff that's healthy, you know, trying to do that when I'm home, but then I get high and just eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's, which accounts for the gut.
So it's moderately healthy. Healthy in moderation.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Can you name the best meal that you've ever eaten?
Best meal that I've ever eaten? Man, you know, I went to a foodie-ass restaurant in San Francisco called Quince, or Quince, I think is how you pronounce it, if you actually know how to pronounce things.
Right.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, it must have been like a $300 meal, and it was just too much of everything, and it was so good. That one really stands out in my mind, you know. But the best meal is always the one, you know, where you're hungry.
Right. The last meal.
Yeah.
All right, well, switching gears here to music. The Dwarves have a 7-inch on Fat right now for the Gentleman Blag. What made you guys go with Fat for this particular release?
Well, me and Mike have been friends for years. You know, he's always been a cool guy to me. He's never much of a Doors fan, though, so I think it was out of guilt finally he put out a record.
Do you see yourselves ever doing a full length with Fat, or is this enough?
I would love to do a full length with Fat. You know, Fat's a great label, and it gets you right in front of the people who might like it. You know, you know, and I just like the people at Fat. I've known so many of them for years. You know, Chad and Aaron, and you know, just it's a bunch of people that I like over there. They happen to be in San Francisco, and that's where I'm from. You know, and so. It was sort of like I was at Epitaph for a while, and I was at, you know, like I was, you know, or with Sympathy, like I was sort of with various labels and sort of just peripherally would hang out with them here and there at places. And so, you know, you know, I'm a fan of Fat. I would do a record with them. I sort of make records a little differently. Like I finish my record and then bring it to people, you know. I don't really like to make a record where from the beginning you're kind of under the orbit of a label, you know, only because then, you know, you get rushed for time or you got to do it a particular way or, you know. And I like to just have a record done and then say, okay, you know, who wants this, you know. So, you know, there's different ways to do it, but yeah, I think Fat's a great label. It's a good place to be, but I'm really more, the Doors for many years has just been more like an independent thing, you know. like we make something and then a label just comes in and puts it out. You know, I did all the art for that stuff. I did all the music. You know, there's no real point of contact between me and any record label until I'm done. You know.
Does it ever hinder you as far as having to pay for studio time, or is that not an issue?
Well, yeah, of course, you know, you got to put up all your own money. I just started doing that years ago because, well, it started because nobody would give me a record deal after Sub Pop. We were on Sub Pop, and you know, they were real pieces of shit. And after the Sub Pop deal, nobody would really make a record with me, so I had to make my own record with my own money, and I enjoyed it more. And then when I was done with that, I was able to get it to Epitaph and make a bunch of money on it. And then they kind of hung out with their thumb up their ass and didn't really think about it or care about it. And from then on, I just always just made my own records, because I don't want somebody that doesn't know how to make a record trying to tell me how to make one.
Right.
I don't care how much money they have or how smart they think they are. Most punk records stink. They sound like shit. They don't sound right. They're not played right. They're just incompetent and lame. And I don't care how many copies they sold or how many morons love the band because they all wear the same shorts as them or whatever. You know, it's like I'm making records that are so much better than other people's records that I just don't listen to anybody until I'm through with it.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, I listen to the people in my band and I listen to the people that I work with, but I'm not going to listen to any record label telling me shit about how to make a record. They just don't know anything, you know.
This last record had more input from the rest of the Dwarves than.
Yeah.
Was that kind of? Did you intentionally do that? Or did?
Well, you know, sometimes it just sort of goes that way. Like, I've gotten a lot of credit for Dwarf songs that I didn't write, you know. I mean, because people just assume that I wrote everything, but really I've always been in a band with great songwriters, even in the earliest versions of the band. Songs like Fuck 'Em All, you know, that was Saltpeter, you know, or Fuck You Up and Get High, that was Simone, you know. There were like different guys who wrote songs that everybody just assumed I must have written. And even now, like Fresh Prince of Darkness wrote You'll Never Take Us Alive, which sounds completely like my lyrics, you know, and you know, he wrote songs on every record and still writes songs for us. And on this last record, on Invented, Saltpeter came back, the original bass player, and wrote Trailer Trash, which I thought was the best song on there. So, you know, I've always been open to songs from the whole band. I like the idea of just everybody doing whatever they do best and giving everybody a chance to write. The only criterion is, you know, did you write a great song, you know? So this time around, Chip Fracture wrote songs, and of course, Wrecked Everything, Nick Oliveri, he always writes a song or two, and you know, these are just guys who are so smart and good. They're great players and they're great songwriters, plus usually they're band leaders too. You know? So, I mean, I've just been really lucky having great bands all down the line, you know. And that was another kind of thing that made the Dwarves sort of less commercial, because most bands have one songwriter, he writes the same song over and over, and then punk fans kind of clap their hands and go, yeah, this sounds sincere. It's the same every single time, you know. You got these bands that, like, I don't know, I think Bad Religion's been writing the same melody for 30 years, you know. It's like, you know what I mean? And I really, you know, I have friends in that band. They're very cool, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. Maybe let somebody else write something. You know? I mean, I don't know, you know. I think success in punk rock is a very odd thing, because a lot of times you get rewarded for doing a worse job, you know.
Right.
People think something's good, you know, and it's so mediocre.
Do you guys have any touring planned for the rest of this year?
What kind of touring do we have planned? Well, we're doing the whole East Coast next week, including Puerto Rico, which is going to be fun. But we're starting up in New York and Boston and going all the way down to Orlando, and so a lot of East Coast. And then we're going to go to Europe in April, May, doing the Grows Rock Festival and a bunch of other Italian, German, Swiss, English shows. Going to Canada in May. Playing Calgary and playing Pooza Fest. So it's a pretty full year of touring coming up here.
Is this your first time going down to Puerto Rico?
Never been to Puerto Rico yet. I'm really looking forward to it.
How many shows are you guys doing down there?
Just the one.
Okay. Do you have a favorite thing that you look forward to when you're touring?
A favorite what?
Like, is there what's your favorite part of touring?
I like it when young, attractive women look at me with, sort of, gaze at me in admiration and then desperately want to have sex with me.
Will he who cannot be named be joining you on this tour?
You never know when he is going to show up. He's kind of unpredictable, I saw him in, this time, I saw him in San Francisco. You see him in those shows live. And I saw him in L.A. and then again in Salt Lake City, oddly enough. And then last time we played Vegas. So you never know when he is going to show up. He's a pretty unpredictable cat.
Awesome. Well, hey, Black, that's all I got for you today. Did you have anything else you want people to know, either about yourself or anything you're working on?
Yeah, well, our website got hacked by Tunisian Islamic fundamentalists. So you got to go to our Facebook page now. I can't make this stuff up, man. It's crazy.
Will that affect your Tunisian touring cycle?
Yeah, we're going to have to do Algeria and Morocco instead.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. I'll see you at the show. Send us a link to this.
Definitely, I'll send it out.
Cheers, man. Thank
Cool,
you.
man. Thank you. Have a good night.
Brace saints all around me. Got them saints all around me. I got them saints all around me. All they do is hound me. Jesus on the wall above me. Jesus on the wall above me. Got Jesus on the wall above me. That don't mean you love me. Got them saints all around me. Got them saints all around me. I got them saints all around me. All they do is clown me. Got angels on my left side. Got devils on my right. And I'm pretty sure I never saw the left side of last night. Got them saints all around me. Got them saints all around me. I got them saints. Got them saints. Oh yeah.
Thanks, Kev. Yes, this was Punk Rock Foodies Radio on punkrockradio.net, broadcasting from the Vicious Pig Saloon in downtown Mattersville. I'd like to thank the staff of the Vicious Pig, always generous to us, always taking care of us. They'll take care of you too. You get your ass down here. I'd like to thank Black Dahlia for joining us. Check out the drawers. I'd like to thank Kevin, Steve, and Brian. I would like you to check out Burning Rose Studios for your studio needs and MRF Records. Also, of course, check out Punk Rock Foodies on Facebook. We are an open group. Feel free to join. We've got some awesome shit going on, and you don't want to miss out on it. So that's about it for us. We'll see you next week. Listen to some Clash. Don't eat tit, everyone.
Live by the river to the imitation zone. Forget it, brother, you can go it alone. London calling to the zombies of death. Quit holding out and draw another breath. London calling, and I don't wanna shout, but while we were talking, I saw you nodding out. London calling, see we ain't got no hide, except for that one with the yellowy eyes. The ice age is coming, the sun's zooming in, engines stop running, the wheat is going big, a nuclear error. But I have no fear, cause London is drowning. I live by the river. The ice is coming, the sun's zooming in, engines stop running, the wheat is going big, a nuclear error, but I have no fear, cause London is drowning. I live by the river. Now get this! London calling, yes, I was there too. And you know what they said? Well, some of it was true. London calling at the top of the dial. And after all this, won't you give me a smile? I never felt so much like